But I feel that we have to go beyond your NCERT a little bit because of the questions that I saw, which is why I took this particular topic as a separate video. Okay, and now going ahead, let's see what all have we covered in the previous session. So in the just immediate previous session, we spoke about adaptive radiation in Darwin's finches, and then the marsupials, and then the cute little placental mammals as well. We also spoke about divergent and convergent evolution, and at this point of time, if someone is feeling that, ma'am, what are you talking about? I don't understand this language of biology. So basically over here, we have the videos in the playlist. You can go watch the videos, put it in 2x speed and just watch it. Now, one expert advice is that read your NCERT prior to watching the video. Okay, at that point of time, you might not get everything, but once you watch the video and then reread it, you will understand it like cheese, so, or butter. Yeah, so try doing that. And also, if you want the PDF of the same, you can join the WhatsApp channel. So there is some issue, please forgive me if my voice goes all bland over there. Yes, the number of questions that we have is 4, my dear children. In the previous year, it was 4. So 4 into 4, that is, for every correct answer, you get 4 marks. So 16 marks for this chapter. So can we avoid that? No, we cannot avoid this particular chapter. We have to study. Now, I remember I gave my chutkus a little homework. Let's see who all got it correct. And then we will move to today's topic. Which of the following refer to correct examples of organisms which have evolved due to changes in environment? First statement says you have to choose the correct example of the organisms. Okay, those that have evolved by what? By anthropogenic action. Anthropogenic action, because that means man-made things. Okay, because of the man-made things, which are the organisms that have evolved. So basically, the question is asking you in what set of these examples do you think there is an involvement of man? There, that's the simplest thing. Okay, simplest way to explain this particular question. So let's see. So Darwin finches of Galapagos Islands, they do not have anything to do with man. Okay, even though Darwin went there to see it, Darwin didn't have any connection with the finches over there, right? So Darwin was not the person who was responsible for the different beak size of the finches. So this was an example of natural selection. Excuse me. It was happening naturally, and the nature was selecting organisms based on the ones that were perfect to adapt over there. So if I had very long beak like that, then probably I would be eating certain plants. If I had small beaks, then probably I would be picking and eating certain insects. So the nature chose me to survive over there. Okay, I didn't have anything to do there. Man did not have anything to do over there. Now, herbicide resistant weeds, yes, man definitely have, because herbicides were made by man. And now when I sprayed the herbicide, some of them they survived, some of them didn't survive. So the one that survived had the resistance to this particular herbicide, and this came as a part of evolution. But yes, we were a part of it somehow, not directly but indirectly, we were a part of it. So this is an example. Okay, this is an example. Now you have given 1, 2, 3, 4, so you can have multiple answers for this, right? Drug resistant eukaryotes, again, who created drugs? It's us, we humans created drugs, and now if someone is resistant to that, probably that might have something to do with us also. We are the people who gave the drug. Some organisms were resistant, so they survived, others didn't. Again, there is an involvement of human being over here. So I'll say this is also an example. Okay, next, man created breeds of domesticated animals like dogs. Obviously here it is man created written over here, so you can get to understand that yes, we got dogs from wolves, and man were definitely involved. Okay, what did they do? So basically there were so many wolves, and wolves, as you know, they are very khonkar animals, right? So they will eat you up if they are very much hungry. So there was few pavam wolves over there. Man took those wolves and made them interbreed between themselves, the papa ones, the pavam ones. Okay, when they did that, they got a variety of wolf which was domesticable. Okay, the wolf was happy because human being was giving it its food. Okay, and the human being was happy because the wolf was providing protection. So this way the thing went on, and slowly they evolved into something that is known as a dog now. So I know this sounds to be very like a fairy tale or something like that, a dreamy thing, but it is the actual case that has happened, and it took years. Okay, it took years, but yes, there's an involvement of man over there. So this is also an example. So I see 2, 3 and 4 examples, and over here I see this is the answer, my dear children. I hope it works. Now, if you do not know about Darwin finches, if you do not know about these things, will you be able to answer this? No, which is why I am telling you, go watch the videos. Okay. Now, Let's start off with today's thing. So today, as I said, we are going to talk about different theories of evolution. So different people came up and said that this is how evolution might have happened. This is how different organisms might have come. And the first guy who came in the theory was Lamarck. Okay, what was his name? His name was Lamarck, and his theory was based on two things. One is use and disuse. That means, for example, if there is one body part that I am using it regularly, then probably I will be seeing certain changes in the body parts. Okay, certain changes in the body parts, and there is some other body part which I am not using properly, which I am not using regularly. I will see that probably it will diminish. It won't be there. Okay, it won't be there. And the perfect example, I know when you think of me like that, it is not possibly imaginable. But if you think of a giraffe, it becomes literally quite easy. So over here it was said that giraffe basically initially had small neck, okay, but the food that they had was at larger distances, so they used to peek in like this. Okay, every time they used to do like this for having that food over there. And since giraffe was using its neck, I'm not joking, this was actually what Lamarck said, okay, and we cannot blame him. At least he put out something. Okay, we didn't do anything. So giraffe's neck is an example of Lamarckism. Over here he said, since it is being used, so there is some development over here, and that development can be seen over here as well. So this was the example of Lamarck, and this is known as use and disuse. If you're using something, it will grow. If you're disusing something, it won't be growing, and basically it will diminish from the whole thing entirely. Okay, he didn't know about genetics, he didn't know about variations and mutations, nothing like that. So he was like this: if you're using something, probably there might be changes in that something to make things more adaptable over there, and it will work on. If you're not using something, it will just go off. Okay, now that was okay. That was okay. But the second thing that he put down was inheritance of acquired traits. What do you mean by acquired? So there are two different types of traits, my dear little children. Okay. So one type of trait is inherited and the other one is acquired. So for example, inherited trait is that I have a skin. Inherited trait is that I have a skin. Now, if I put a tattoo on my skin, okay, if I put a tattoo on my skin, this is acquired. This is something I am acquiring through my lifetime. This is not something that I am getting from birth. Have you seen any child being born like the tattoo that they have on the parent's hand? No, right? Obviously, it's not an inherited trait. Inherited traits basically gets inherited from one generation to another because it has something to do with the genes. So these are the changes in the genes that gets accumulated and get passed on. Whereas acquired traits have nothing to do with the genes. Okay, these are acquired during the lifetime. This is acquired during the lifetime. So what did Lamarck say? Lamarck said that acquired traits, one that organism acquired throughout the lifetime, it is getting passed on to the next generation. But do you think that acquired trait can get passed on to the next generation? No. For tomorrow, if I think that I have to pierce my nose, do you think my child, if I have one, okay, will also have the same thing? No, it's not something that is inheritable. It has nothing to do with my genes. So over here, why did Lamarck say this? Because when Lamarck saw the giraffe, he found that, okay, there was tall-necked giraffe, and then he found that all the progenies had the tall necks. All the progenies had tall necks. So he thought that this is something that giraffe has acquired. As you can see over here, it has short necks, then it turned out to be tall. And now if the progenies over there are also having tall necks, probably this is because the acquired characters that you see over here are inherited from one generation to another generation. This is what Lamarck said. Okay. Now, do you think it is correct? Do you think it is correct? So, to know it's correct or not, we have to read what he have said. Okay. Just before that, let me just turn on the AC. It's too cold up here in the studio. Yeah. Sorry. Hot up here in the studio. Okay. Chalo. So Lamarck's theory rests on two main principles. One principle is use and disuse. Lamarck believed that if an organism uses a particular organ or body part frequently, it becomes more developed and stronger over time. Conversely, if an organ or a body part is not used, it will weaken or diminish in size. Now, to make it more easy for you, if for example, I go to gym and I have big muscles over here. Okay. Now, do you think the baby that will be born, okay, will be having big muscles when it comes out? Obviously not. This is not an acquired trait. This is not any inherited trait. This is acquired trait, something that I'm acquiring. Okay. Now, example that he gave was of giraffe. Giraffe were thought to have developed long necks because they constantly stretched to reach high branches for the food. Now, the second principle was there, inheritance of acquired traits. Lamarck proposed that changes to adaptation acquired during an organism's lifetime could be inherited by its offsprings. For instance, if a parent animal developed stronger muscles by performing a certain action, so its offspring will also inherit those stronger muscles. But do you think this is correct? Do you think it is correct? Obviously, it is not correct. And since it is not correct, the role of Augustin Weismann comes over here. Okay, August Weismann was a person who said that, Lamarck, I know you're trying really hard, but whatever you're saying does not make any sense. Why so? Because obviously you cannot inherit acquired trait. If it is inherited trait, then you can do so, but acquired trait you cannot do so. But Lamarck was like, hey, Chunu, Weismann, please don't talk. Okay, don't talk. That's what I meant. Okay, don't talk. Over here, you have to listen to me. Listen, without any proof, you cannot. I saw the giraffe. If you can give an experiment, just give the experiment. So, August Weismann, he said that basically I can do the experiment. I can show it to you. For example, I took two mice. Okay, Cutie and Sweetie. Okay, I took Cutie and Sweetie and I cut their tails. This is an acquired character. Now Cutie will be having a small tail and Sweetie will also be having a small tail. Agree? Because I have cut the tail. So they will look almost like this. I know I'll make something very bizarre, but yes. They had very small tail. Over here, Sweetie will also have, okay, very small tail. Now, this small tail character that you see over here, this is an acquired trait, not an inherited trait. Inherited, what did they inherit? Long tail, but it was cut short. So, this is an acquired trait. And now, when I make them to mate with each other, I find that baby is born, baby mice, okay. Lily is born over here. And over here, if you see, according to what Lamarck said, this and this when they breed together, this is an acquired trait, then obviously, the baby that should be formed, okay, the baby that should be formed should have a smaller tail. But they saw that Lily had a long tail. Lily had a long tail just like how the parents used to have. So, probably the genes for long tail was still there. Okay, that genes were transmitted to the other person, not the other person, basically their child. Okay, but something that they have acquired have not been passed on. So, because of this particular experiment, he said that no, Lamarck, you cannot pass down the acquired traits, you can only pass down the inherited traits. He also spoke about, Weismann was the one, please remember very carefully, Weismann was the one who spoke about germ cells, that there are certain cells which are responsible for the sex of an organism, whereas there are certain other cells which have nothing to do with the sex of the organism, but it manages all the other things of an organism. Okay, so we know how many chromosomes, the chromosomes and everything, we don't come to that, but still I'm telling you. Generally, so we know there are 44 chromosomes, okay, 44 chromosomes which work on all the physical characters, and there are 2 chromosomes in the case of human beings, the sex chromosomes, which defines our sexes, right? So, whatever changes are there in the sex chromosome, whatever DNA changes are there, whatever genes are there, that has been passed down to generation to generation. Okay, so there are changes in the germ cell which are passed from generation to generation, and those are inherited traits. Those are what, children? Inherited traits that are being passed on. But over here, in the case of Lamarck, he was totally wrong by saying that it was acquired trait that was also being inherited. Okay. So, what did August Weismann do? He performed experiments that directly challenged the idea of the inheritance of acquired characteristics. His most famous experiment involved cutting off the tails of mice for multiple generations. So, it was not one generation. For multiple generations, he tried it. Okay. He cut its tail also and then mated it with another one with cutted tail, and then he observed. Again he did that. Okay, but since after doing lots of experiments, he came to a conclusion, no, it is not possible for them to have shorter tail. It is there in their genetics and it will get passed on, okay, until you are changing the genetics of an organism. So he observed that offspring of these mice were always born with tails regardless of the fact that the parents had lost their. This demonstrated that acquired traits such as the loss of a tail were not inherited, my dear children. Okay. Works? Will you remember August Weismann? I don't think it's there in your NCERT, so this is something very much important. You have to remember him. Okay? Going ahead. Okay, so Lamarck's theory was done, then came Weismann, then came a lot of people, okay, but obviously we have to talk about the major guy over here, that is Darwin. Darwin went to Galapagos Island, he saw this thing, what do you call it? Darwin saw finches, okay, the finches going there. The finches were there. There are different type of finches going to different areas in the same geographical region. Okay, somewhere it went to where cacti were more. Some went to where insects were more, and everyone had different beaks, types of beaks. So they were able to adapt over there. They adapted over there. This is known as adaptive radiation. From one common ancestor, they are going to different areas. They are getting adapted over there because they have the features to get adapted over there. So Darwin's theory of evolution, it was said that, okay, it had a lot to do with Thomas Malthus experiments, okay, or Thomas Malthus theories. He also put down certain things which are not given in your NCERT, or we can suppose that these things which is given in your NCERT is by Thomas Malthus, and this thing that you see over here, again, which is given in your NCERT, is by Darwin. So this is an addition that Darwin did. Probably that could be a thing, or probably because when you search for Thomas Malthus and all, it comes that yes, he has given a certain amount of things, but exact thing is not written everywhere. So we have to follow NCERT and we have to understand things. Okay, so please remember this guy, Darwin's theory of evolution were based on Thomas Malthus finding as well. Okay, now, so branching descent and natural selection are the two key concepts of Darwinian theory of evolution. What are those? Branching descent and natural selection. Branching descent means as of one of species is there, it will divide itself into two different species, and again it will divide itself into different species. So there's a branch of species that comes along from a common ancestor. That is what you mean by branching descent. And then natural selection, you know that nature is the one. For example, in nature you find that one particular character is making that organism able to survive in that particular habitat. Then that particular character will be selected. Okay, that particular character will be selected. For example, I said that if this is the Galapagos Island, I am the Darwin finch. So 5 of them, they went over there where cacti was there. Okay, 5 of them went over there where cacti was there, but only 2 of them had a different type of beaks. So I was also among the 5. I also went there and I found that cacti is there. I do not have the beak. I do not have the beak to eat that. So probably what could I do? I won't be able to survive. I came back. So over there, only those 2 survived who had those particular feature. So that is natural selection. Nature is selecting them over there because they have that particular feature. They have that variation in them. Okay, that is what you mean by natural selection. Now we will read what all were already said by Thomas Malthus. Okay, and then we will go ahead with Darwin. So he said that natural resources are limited. Whatever resources are there, it is limited. Now one more thing that I want to clear it up. It is not written that Thomas Malthus said this, but we are assuming that Thomas Malthus said this because in your NCERT it is written that the only novelty given by Darwin, only novelty means the only new thing that is given by Darwin was this thing. So we assume that this was said by Thomas Malthus. Okay, we are not sure, but we assume that. So anyways, he said that natural resources are limited. You know that. All the natural resources which you see over there are limited. Nothing is flourishing. Okay, for example, if all organisms are similar in nature, do you think that everyone will get natural resources? No. We are different. We are different from lions, we are different from tigers, or probably we all will be fighting for food together. So everyone had different food requirements and everything, and all the natural resources that you see over here are limited as well. It's not too much, it does not flourish by itself, it is limited. Okay, and now populations are stable in size except for seasonal fluctuations. So populations also, if you see, they are stable in size except one or the other things. If it comes, everything could go. For example, an earthquake came, everything, the population won't be stable anymore. Some of the people would die, some of the people would survive. Okay, the members of a population vary in characteristics. Agree? You, me, everyone vary in some or the other character. In fact, no 2 individuals are alike. We are not alike, even though they look superficially similar. Yes, you have 2 hands, I also have 2 hands, you have 2 legs, I also have 2 legs. Okay, so most of the variations, it is also said, most of the variations are inherited. Whatever variations that you see, most of them, they are inherited. They didn't tell how did the variation come and everything. They said whatever some changes are in me is inherited from some other organism, basically my parents. Okay, so the fact that theoretically population size will grow exponentially if everybody reproduce maximally and the fact that population size in reality are limited means that there had been competition for resources. Simple thing. Okay, I'll tell you what they are saying. So basically, if all the organisms, for example, Chunu and Munu is there. Okay, this is Chunu and Munu. Okay, there are other friends of Chunu and Munu also. They reproduce, they will produce offsprings. Okay. Similarly, other Chunu Munus are there. They also will be reproducing and they will also be producing offsprings. So in that way, if you see, the population growth will be exponential, it will be increasing, it won't be decreasing, it will be always increasing. Then what is that thing that does not make this population growth just increasing? Why is it like it has to be at some point it goes less, some point it goes more, some point is stable? Why is it that so? Because obviously there are limited resources over here. There are what, children? Limited resources over here. Okay, and there is enough competition for these resources. There is enough competition, not of, all right, for these resources. So there is enough competition for these resources, and also because the limited resources are there, which is why we do not see an exponential. There will be maximal growth. Okay, we will see that we are not saying that growth is not exponential. Growth is exponential, but it is not maximum. If everyone started producing like that, then probably we won't be able to sustain over here. We won't be able to sustain over here. It was maximum. If it was maximum, it is not maximum because yes, there are certain human beings who are not getting food. There are certain organisms who are not getting food. Okay, because there is limited resources and there is competition. Now, who will survive in this competition? The one who are perfectly fit to survive, who have that variations to survive over there. Okay, who have that variations to survive over there. Now, this is something that was said by Darwin. This is something that was said by Darwin. That is, who are the people who will be able to survive? The people who have the variations. So, he asserted that variations which are heritable, he assumed that there are some variations and these variations are heritable and which make resource utilization better for few, will enable only those to reproduce and leave more progeny. So the ones that had good adaptations, that had good variations, okay, the one that had good variations, I am talking about inherited variations, okay, inherited variations will be able to adapt and will be able to survive in context of others who would not have this particular variations and obviously would not be able to adapt and survive. Hence, for a period of time over many generations, survivors live more progeny and there would be change in the population characteristics and hence new forms appears to arise. That means, for example, in a pool of population, okay, in a pool of population, these two were able to survive. So they will reproduce, so they have the good character, they have the good variations over there, very good variations over there, which is why they survived. Now, when they reproduce, they will pass down this variation to other offsprings, to their offsprings, and they will also survive. Now, among them also, two of them might have certain variations, other two might have some variations, which is why they fuse and they get that good variations will get passed on to another generation, and this is how evolution it takes place. Evolution does not always means, for example, from monkey it is human is being formed. Evolution also means whenever there is a change in genetic makeup, whenever there is a change in genetic makeup, for example, I had, for example, children, okay, there was A allele, there was B allele. Okay, there was A allele and there was B allele. If A allele was found in 60% of the people and this was found in 40% of the people and in one generation, but in the next generation, A allele was found in 40% of the people and B was found in 60% of people, then this is also an example of evolution because there is a change in gene pool. Because there is a change in gene pool. The genes have changed, the amount, the percentage have changed, which is why we say that evolution has definitely taken place. So I'll just sum up what Darwin said, okay, what Darwin did say. So Darwin's all the theories, whatever theory of evolution that he put down had something to do with Thomas Malthus, because Thomas Malthus was a person who was also working on the same. Okay, so Thomas Malthus, we assume that he said that natural resources that you see over here, they're all limited, and whatever people that you see or whatever organisms that you see, you might feel that they're superficially same, but actually there are some variations in them which are just there, which makes them adapt to one particular environment properly. Okay, and he also said that if everything goes well, then this population of things that you see over here, they will reproduce maximally and they will increase their number. But this is not happening. Why is this not happening? Probably because the natural resources that you see are limited, and if natural resources are limited, obviously competition will be there, and in competition not everyone will be survived. The one who will be adapting better will survive. So that was said by whom? Darwin. Darwin said that one that had good variations, okay, one that had good variations will be able to survive in comparison to the others, because the person who, or the organisms who have good variations, they will be able to adapt to one particular environment, and that will be able to help that particular organism to compete against other organisms, to have food, to have natural resources, to utilize everything properly. And eventually these organisms which win the competition will survive and will reproduce to give more progenies like that, and hence the whole gene pool will be shifting altogether. The gene pool that you see over here will be shifting altogether. Got it? So this was Darwin's theory of evolution. He said this is how we evolved. The one who are better will evolve better. That's all. Okay? Now, the problem with Darwin's theory was that he didn't know about mutations. He just knew that, okay, variations were there. He didn't know about genetics much. Okay, he didn't know about genetics much. So he couldn't say that where did this variation come from. Okay, he could not say that where did this variation actually come from. Where did variation come from? Okay, and he also said that these changes that you see, it's a very slow process. It's a very slow process. Whatever you see is a slow process of evolution that has been taking place. Okay, and it is always continuous in nature, or it is moving in, it is directional. That means, for example, there were finches with small beak. Okay, then there will be finches with a bit larger beak, then there will be finches with another larger. So there is a continuous thing that is being over here. There is nothing discontinuous. It's not like it's going from here to here or it's going from here to here. Nothing like that. It is directional. It is continuous. Okay, it is directional. It is continuous. Nothing is regressive. Everything is progressive according to him. So this was a thing that was a big problem according to other scientists. Okay, so you have to remember this thing. This is very much important. What is it? These are the problems. He said that it was slow process. He said that it was a slow process. It is a very continuous, it is a very directional process that you see over here. Okay, and he did not know about variation. Where did the variation come from and everything. These are the drawbacks of Darwin's theory. Drawbacks of Darwin's theory. Cool. Now, obviously, if some theory has a drawback, then there should be some other person who should explain it better and tell, because everyone was curious to know what is the theory of evolution, how did we evolve actually. So here comes the role of Hugo de Vries. Okay, here comes the role of Hugo de Vries. This guy said that, okay, I understand whatever happened, but I know a bit about genetics, and I can tell you that there is something that is known as mutations that definitely happen. Mutations means there are certain genetic changes, abrupt genetic changes that happens. Okay, there are certain abrupt genetic changes that happens that will obviously bring changes in the character. Okay, in the character as an inheritable character as well. Inheritable character as well. Okay, he was the person who said that. It can be changes in some other chromosome and also in the germ cells. That's what I am trying to tell you. Now, even though Mendel had talked of inheritable factors influencing phenotype, Darwin either ignored this observation or kept silence. So Mendel, even though he was talking about genetics, Darwin was not probably keenly interested, or that's how something might have went wrong. So in the first decade of 20th century, Hugo de Vries, based on his work on the evening primrose, what was the thing? What was the thing he was working on? Please remember it. It was evening primrose. Okay, this was the thing that he was working on. Brought forth the idea of mutation. Large differences arising suddenly in a population. So over here, do you think this will be a small change that will be resulting? No, children. This will be a large change. This will be a large change that will be resulting. Okay, do you think it will be slow? No, it's a quick process. It's very fast. It's very fastly that this thing is happening. So there's a large difference arising suddenly in a population. He believed that mutation which causes evolution, it is the mutation that causes evolution and not the minor variations that Darwin talked about. So it was not talking about the minor variations that you see over there. It is because of larger mutations that you see over here, because mutations in the genetics obviously will lead to a big change in the whole population. Now mutations, as you know, they are random. Can you say that, hey, mutation please not happen on chromosome number this, please happen on this chromosome? Do you think it is on our will that things happen? No, it happens very randomly. It happens very randomly and it is directionless as well. It is directionless as well. It can be progressive, it can be regressive. Either way, while Darwinian variations are small and directional. According to him, all the variations that he saw was very small and it was directional. So evolution of Darwin was gradual, whilst De Vries believed that mutation caused speciation and hence saltation. So basically, Hugo De Vries, he said that it is mutations that had brought out this very big large scale change, and this is the reason why we have different species. It is because of mutation that we have different species. It is not because of Darwinian small minor things that different species have come. Now he called this process as what, children? Saltation. He called this process as saltation, where it's a very one single step process by which you get so many species around in the corner. Okay, so probably Darwin finches also, they had mutations in them. Which is why they had certain changes, which is why they have evolved. Okay, I hope you got it. Fine. Now I have got something out of NCERT as well, make you understand how both of them are different. So source of evolution according to Darwin was variation comes from small continuous changes within a population. Example, small differences in the size, color or shape. These differences arise due to factors like the environment and reproduction. Okay, all the changes that you see, he thought that okay, cacti is there, probably the ones that are adapted to have might have this particular beaks. So they, because of that particular environment, probably these organisms that went there might have adapted and made their beak like that, probably. Okay, but Darwin didn't know about the genetic mechanism behind these variations that were occurring. Now, De Vries on the other hand said that variations occurs due to sudden and random mutation in the genetic material of organism. De Vries introduced that concept of mutation as a source of new traits and believed that these sudden changes had a bigger impact on evolution than the slow changes that Darwin proposed. Okay, now rate of evolution, again Darwin said evolution is a slow process and a gradual process. Changes accumulate over many generations through natural selection. So nature selected, and every time it's selected there's a slow change that is occurring. Whereas De Vries said evolution can occur quickly when significant mutation happen, when enough amount of mutations are happening, then yes, evolution can happen really quick, okay, potentially producing new species in a relatively shorter period. So in some other ways, both of them were correct, because sometimes, yes, we say evolution is a very slow process. On the other hand, we see lots of new species arising like this, because yes, mutation plays a major role over there. Okay, so when you have enough amount of mutation, obviously you will find big variations. When you have little amount of mutation, you will find small variations. So yes, some other way, both are correct. But yes, since he was talking about genetics, and at that point of time, genetics was very well developed. So yes, everyone went according to Hugo De Vries, which was more correct way of explaining things. Okay, works? Will you be able to remember this? So it's not like big things that you have to remember over here, small things you have to remember over here. That's how the questions are coming. I will be showing you the questions also, so you'll get an idea of things. Okay, so let's start with the questions. Okay, first I'll just repeat how many people we had. Lamarck we had. Lamarck said that use and disuse thing is there. Something is getting used, it will grow up. Okay, there will be nurturing in them, and there will be inheritance of acquired traits as well. There will be things that we acquired through the lifetime and we are passing it on to the other generation. But then Weismann said, no, this is not true, yaar. This is not true. I am showing you the experiment where I have cut the mice's tail and then I fused them. Then I found that again the baby which was formed, it still have long tail. So that means this acquired character that they have got during the entire lifetime is not getting passed on. Only the inherited things are getting passed on. Okay, so that was Weismann. And then came this Darwin guy. Okay, Darwin had something to do with Thomas Malthus also. He was also working on the same things. He gave his conclusion. Darwin said that yes, you are right, exactly, you are correct. So there is obviously competition for resources, or not everyone can survive, but those organisms can survive which have the good variations in them. Okay, only those that have the good variations in them will be able to survive properly. And this process is a very slow process. The evolution that you see is a very slow process. According to me, it's not very fast. Okay, but then came Hugo de Vries. He said the variations that you're talking about are nothing but mutations. Mutations that you are talking about, it is arising because of mutations, and mutations, as you say, cannot be always slow. It can be really fast. There can be a big mutation, there can be so many mutations together happening in an organism which will bring about new variations, which will bring about new type of species, and this whole process is known as saltation. This whole process is known as saltation, my dear children. So Hugo de Vries obviously were most correct because scientifically everything was updated. Darwin ignored Mendel's findings and everything, but over here Hugo de Vries included that and came to a conclusion that this is mutation that is causing everything, and it's a very rapid, it's a very random process, and it is directionless. It does not have any direction. Okay, some mutations can be bad, some mutations can be good, it can go in either direction. Cool, I hope it works. Now coming with the first question, try this first question out. Weismann cut off tails of mice generation after generation, but tails neither disappeared nor shortened, showing that Darwin was correct. Tail is an essential organ. Mutation theory is wrong. Lamarckism was wrong in inheritance of acquired characters. Now this is an easy question, right? I hope you can answer it. This is first question. Please tell me in the comment section or in the chat box that ma'am, the answer for the first question is this. Okay, going ahead, we have second question. Darwin in his natural selection theory did not believe in any role of which one of the following in organic evolution. Okay, so according to his natural selection theory, the theory that we studied as of now, okay, what he did not believe in: parasites and predators are natural enemies, survival of the fittest, struggle for existence, discontinuous variations. Okay, what was the thing? So parasites and predators as natural enemies, so there are natural enemies. Okay, there will be survival of the fittest, there will be struggle for existence, or discontinuous variations. What is the correct answer? You are asked what he did not believe in. Okay, what is the wrong thing? Third thing, which one of the following phenomena supports Darwin's concept of natural selection in organic evolution? Okay, supports, you're asked about supporting. Which one supports? Development of transgenic animals. Transgenic animals are formed in the lab, okay, in the laboratory condition. Production of Dolly the sheep by cloning, again something that has human requirement. Prevalence of pesticide resistant insects. Development of organs from stem cells for organ transplantation. Okay, so these are the things. Use your own brain a bit little, read it once more, you will get the answer. Okay, read it once more, see what is common among these options and what is not common among one option. There is one option that stands out from all of the others, so you have to find that. Okay, again I'll repeat the question, I'll make you understand the question. The thing to find the answer is yours. Okay, which one of the following phenomena supports Darwin's concept of natural selection? So which among them is saying that Darwin's theory of natural selection was correct, or it is going according to Darwin's theory of natural selection? What was Darwin's theory of natural selection? Basically the one that the fittest will be able to survive. That is the theory of natural selection. So over here you have to see which one is the apt for that. Now going ahead, we have fourth question. Which one of the following scientists' name is correctly matched with the theory put forth by him? So de Vries we have, Mendel we have, Weismann we have, Pasteur we have. Again, direct term might not be given to you, okay, when I explained it, but if you understood a bit of things, you might be able to give the answer as well. Okay, so try it out for yourself. Which one is correct? Which one scientist and their theory is correct? That is what is asked in this question. Cool? Going ahead. Fifth, theory of inheritance of acquired characters was given by whom? Theory of inheritance of acquired characters was given by which particular person over here? Wallace, Lamarck, Darwin and de Vries. This is the fifth question. Now if you're done with the fifth question, then only I'll request you to go ahead, because I'm going to tell the answers, but I really want you to try, children. If you're not trying, you won't understand. If you are just taking my help to understand the questions, then that is not fair. You have to try for yourself. No betrayal, okay? Going ahead. Chalo, let me solve. First question, Weismann cut off the tails of mice generation after generation, but tails neither disappeared nor shortened, showing that after he cut, he found that every time the tail was long itself. So this was showing that Darwin was correct. It had nothing to do with Darwin. Tail is essential organ, no children. Mutation theory is wrong, no. Lamarckism was wrong. Lamarck was the person who said that inheritance of acquired character is there. So if I'm cutting the tail, why is the organism not having shorter tail, which is born? That is also having longer tail. So that means, yes, Lamarckism was wrong. So this is the correct answer, children. Okay, this is the correct answer. I'll mark it in yellow. Okay, Darwin in his natural selection theory did not believe in any role of which one of the following in organic evolution. So natural selection is there, naturally organism should be getting selected. Okay, now parasites and predators are natural enemies. Did not believe, okay, what he did not believe. So yes, he already agreed with Thomas Malthus, who said that yes, there are so many competition for resources there are so many predators, preys and everything. So obviously this is there. So this is correct. Survival of the fittest, he also said that. Struggle for existence, he also said that there is struggle for existence, not everyone can survive. Discontinuous variation, no children. This is wrong. He said that is continuous variations. He said it is directional. It is not discontinuous, it is continuous variation, it is directional. So this is what is wrong. Now if you do not know about this, obviously you will get your answer wrong. Get it? So that's why I said small informations are important for this solving these type of questions over here. Now, which one of the following phenomena supports Darwin's concept of natural selection in organic evolution? Now, which one supports his theory? Development of transgenic animals, over here human beings are involved, children. Human beings are making two organisms come together. This is transgenic, new animal with desired trait is being formed. Okay, so that is nothing that have to do anything to do with natural selection over there. It is not getting selected naturally. Production of Dolly the sheep by cloning. So Dolly was an excellent sheep over there which was produced by cloning. Again, a man-made thing is there. Okay, we are doing it naturally, it is not getting selected. This is again wrong. Prevalence of pesticide resistant insects. So over here nature is selecting, even though we put pesticides and everything, but variations were occurring naturally. Variations were occurring naturally in this insect. For example, there is insect A and there is insect B. Some variations were there in insect B, which is why when pesticide was put, it was able to survive. So this is, nature is selecting it now. Even though it's our action, we are putting pesticides and everything, but nature is selecting this particular guy because it has the variation. So this is the correct answer. Okay, going off with the fourth option, development of organs from stem cells for organ implantation. So organ transplantation. So over here also we are making the organs and everything, so it has nothing to do with natural selection. Now, which one of the following scientist's name is correctly matched with the theory put forward by him? De Vries, natural selection, no children. It was who gave natural selection? It was Darwin. Mendel, theory of pangenesis, no my dear children. Weismann, the theory of continuity of germplasm. Yes, this was the correct thing. Continuity theory, so the thing that we studied, I told you, right, whatever traits are there, okay, which are there in the germ cells, that will be inherited, and the other cells, for example the sex chromosome, the sex cells which are there, if there are certain changes in that will be inherited, but if there are certain changes in the somatic cells, all the other cells except from the egg and the sperm, then that changes won't be anyways going ahead. Okay, and this is theory of what? Germplasm, theory of continuity of germplasm. Now Pasteur said that inheritance of acquired characters, no children, this is all wrong. This was given by Lamarck. So this is the, ayo, did I mark it here itself? Just a second. Yes, this is the correct answer. Okay, now we have fifth question. Theory of inheritance of acquired characters, as I said, was given by Lamarck. Cool. So this is how question comes, and please don't worry, I have one more question for you two little people. Ready for the homework? So let's see about the homework. Which of the following evidences does not favor the Lamarckian concept of inheritance of acquired characteristics? Which is not favorable? Lack of pigment in cave-dwelling animals. Okay, you were asked about which is not favoring the Lamarck's concept, the Lamarck's theory. Lack of pigment in cave-dwelling animals, melanization in peppered moth, absence of limbs in snakes, presence of webbed toes in aquatic birds. So these are the options. This is the homework. This won't be done by me now. The next session we will be doing it, and also quick reminder, very important reminder, tomorrow you have the mock test. I hope you have prepared everything. We will be giving questions from evolution, and this will be all previous year questions. So I want you to attempt the mock test. Morning itself the paper will be given. It will be put in the WhatsApp group or it will be put in the community post, but it will be there. So you have to practice the question paper. Okay, by evening 4 o'clock you will get the answers. Okay, I'll be solving the answers. Similarly, other teachers will also solving their answers for KCET and everything. I'll be dealing with NEET. Okay, will that be fine? Will that be fine for you? But you have to definitely try, my dear children. If you are missing on mock test, you are missing on a lot of things. Now don't think, ma'am, I didn't study, how can I give mock test? It's okay. Just see the questions. Just see how the question pattern is being formed over there. Try to do at least some. Go by this. You won't get disheartened. Don't think that I'll get disheartened. If you think like that, obviously you get disheartened. But if you think that, okay, this is the type of question, probably now when I read it, I might understand this. Okay, this is how the question is being framed from this particular topic. But if you're not giving yourself a chance for that, you're just believing that, okay, I cannot do it, then obviously you won't be able to do it. So I hope you get it, and you will definitely try for it. As I said, tomorrow is the mock test, and then we'll continue evolution for a few more days, and then it will be completed. Okay, and then we'll start off with the next chapter. I think it will be biotechnology, which is again very important chapter. Okay, so that's all, my dear children. Now if you think that this particular video was definitely useful for you, then do not forget to subscribe to our channel, and I wish you all the luck and all the health, good love, everything to you. May you be happy always. So bye bye, take care.